All right, I've been gone for a little bit, traveling and not exactly feeling too well, so which is typical for me. Much of my life I struggle with my health, and specifically since the accident. So sometimes I come and go, so my posts may be few and far between. I just want to do a little recap of what Cooperators Insurance, specifically Amanda Catarat, Michelle Capobianco, Tanya Costa, and other people. I actually reached out to Cooperators to their sort of ombudsman's office, talking with a Christine Chow, who seemed quite interested in my communications. But then again, it went nowhere, and I got shut off from communication with her, actually by my lawyer's office, because they don't want me to ruffle any feathers, but they're not doing their job. So this is my option, okay? So basically, Cooperators Insurance has not only denied payment of my treatment, has not only canceled my benefits that I should have received, based on a reason they literally made up. Even though I provided evidence and documentation to them, they still went ahead and canceled my benefits, trying to force me into an unfair settlement. Now, as I said, I've been refused treatment in Ottawa on occasion. So I had three experiences. Either I found a treatment provider that helped me, but they were not permitted by Ontario insurance law to submit a treatment program. That applied to John Bain and Jessica Alguera. Then I had treatment by people who refused to deal with the insurance companies due to their constant harassment of treatment providers and the massive burden they create through their electronic system, which requires literally a full-time person in an office handling that. So that would be Lorraine Hamblin, that would be Dr. Patrick Falloon. They did Bill Rodenizer. None of those guys could even, they either refused, and for the reasons I noted about dealing with insurance companies. Then I applied to the Seeker Center to have my concussion assessed and my cognitive issues assessed, and Cooperators denied me any access to that treatment. And because the bill would have been $7,000 up front or something like that, there was no way I could pursue that. Also, when I came home to Manitoba in July of 2015, it was clear to me that Cooperators in Ontario would block any treatment or treatment plans from Manitoba providers, because Ontario does not play nice with the West. They're nasty. And basically their position was, well, if they're in Manitoba, we don't recognize them. So I had to fly back to Ontario more than once to see Ontario doctors, when it would have been much easier to see a doctor in Manitoba. They absolutely refused to accept the opinions, reports, assessments of anyone in Manitoba. Total discrimination under the Human Rights Act. So basically, Michael Ties, who is my amazing osteopath, submitted a treatment plan and a recommendation for treatment that was denied by Cooperators. Dr. Jason Whitaker, my functional neurologist, again, an amazing therapist and a chiropractor by trade. Typically, chiropractors are allowed to provide treatment under Ontario insurance law. He prepared a treatment plan. We submitted it. Cooperators denied it. Again, I also went to a neuropsych here to have another battery of cognitive tests done 6 years after the accident. That was $3,000. Cooperators would not pay for that. They were sticking by defunct Carrie Lawson's report, which was, of course, done for the dollar and paid for by Cooperators, regardless of the fact that the doctor lost his credentials and that the report was patently false. So that's been my experience. So what do insurance companies pay for? So if they're not paying for your care, if they're denying your access to care, they say you have a certain amount of money for care, but what they do is send you to one of their corrupt doctors who's on their payroll and then bill your insurance benefits to see that jackass. That happened to me with Dr. Chang, Dr. Chow, and former Dr. Carrie Lawson. Bunch of complete incompetent doctors who wrote bizarre things in their reports, and I am not certain as to whether some of those reports were further changed by the insurance adjuster. So don't trust that what you get from the insurance company claiming to be a doctor's report was actually all written by the doctor, because the adjusters will manipulate the information and they may change it because you don't have access to the original report. Do not trust it. It can be patently false and the information can be manipulated. So don't absolutely never trust what you get from an insurance company in terms of a report. Secondly, so if they're not paying for benefits, what are they paying for? The insurance company uses its resources to spy on you. They are like outside your house. They're following you in your car. They're watching you in your yard. They're just looking for anything to claim that your injuries don't exist. This is what they spend their money on. They are the worst modern day bastards of all time. So do not trust what comes out of your insurance company in terms of information. And for God's sakes, know they are following you around and spending their resources on spying on you. That is what they do. What has the world come to, eh? I think 9/11 was the biggest cash cow ever for insurance companies, because a million companies who had to pay out zero losses from that significant event, bless all the people that suffered horribly and lost people. Our insurance companies in Canada had to pay out nothing, but they used that incident to jack their rates, to reduce their services, and to be the absolute worst. And you add that layer of Ontario legislation on top of that, and we got nothing. We don't have free Canadian health care. It's selective, it's discriminatory, and it simply doesn't exist under the guise of insurance claims in Ontario. Thank you for listening, and Happy New Year.